These principles are worth pursuing. These principles are worth pursuing. The principles would lead to a science of administration. These principles will lead to a science of administration, which is worthy of intellectual or academic attention. These principles would lead to a science of administration which is worthy of intellectual or academic attention. Okay. That means what? He is saying that we must develop a science of administration. We must seek these principles because these principles are necessary, okay, for emergence of a science. Science is worth pursuing. So right from Wilson to Goodenough to White, all of them, some were concerned with science. Okay. And we had already discussed that Wilson was concerned or wanted the business aspect. Okay. Goodenough also wants the management aspect, some efficiency, rationality. Okay. And L.D. White also wants the management or the efficiency and rationality. Okay. You're right. Fourth. This is a very important line, already asked in UPSC, may be asked again. Okay. So, just put that you remember. Okay. The study of administration, starts with the base of management rather than the foundation of law. The study of administration starts with the base of management rather than the foundation of law. Okay. What does this mean? So it will be management, then it will be technical. दशहरा के 2 टिकटें फ्री जो आंसर देता है. Anybody, can you think of what does he mean by this? तुम रास्ते पे हो लेकिन पहुंचे नहीं अभी. अब ठीक है, लॉजिक एक्सप्लेनेशन सही नहीं है, लॉजिक ठीक है. करेक्ट. ये जो है फिलॉसफिकल होता है, बट जस्टिस, इक्विटी, ठीक है, प्लस लीगलिस्टिक या जो लीगल अप्रोच है वो कहाँ, वेयर डू वी फाइंड इट? इन दी लेजिस्लेचर, पॉलिटिकल सिस्टम, इलेक्टोरल प्रोसेस. ओके. सो सेम थिंग व्हाट विल्सन सेड कि लॉ मेकिंग शुड नॉट बी द मेजर कंसर्न. द इंप्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ लॉ is more important as an area than formulation of law. Are you getting? So he is also talking about the same thing, and in fact this is a very powerful statement which influenced the theory building in public administration. That it is management oriented. It is more with respect to the management of resources. cost, time, productivity, efficiency, okay, whatever. Whereas it does not include the questions of values, the philosophies, the idealisms. So the concern of the study of administration will not include these aspects. It will include only those, the technical aspects of how the administration is going to deliver certain things. So how can we develop best or better techniques of management or rationality, increasing efficiency and productivity? That is the concern of the field. The concern of the discipline is not this. Same thing which was given by Wilson. So you see, management orientation is here also. Wilson, Goodenough, all of them. Now what does this mean, management orientation? So when he's saying business, he means what? Management orientation. That more economic approach to the study of administration rather than political approach to the study of administration. Economic means what? That your concern should be this. Cost, time, efficiency, rationality. Your concern should not be the political values or the legal values. Justice, equity, equality is not your concern. Who? They will define it, you will pursue it. Okay. So this statement of L.D. White laid the foundation for the study of the entire public administration. But you see, Wilson's statement and Goodenough's statement, or for that matter L.D. White's statement, it created a kind of another dichotomy. Okay. One was the value fact, which we had talked. Okay. Debate between positivism and normativism. Okay. Debate between politics and administration. Okay. Another debate between the public and private. Okay. But it was not versus, try to understand. Public and private. Okay. Another debate initiated by the Wilson himself. Okay. Whatever we say that public-private debate comes later, what is public administration, what is private administration, but it was initiated by the father of the discipline himself when he's saying the administration is more business-oriented. Okay. So he wanted to divert the public administration as a system towards the private value system. Okay, what are private values? What is private administration? Obviously administration, private sector and public sector will be different. Why? If it is a technique, it is a management, that should not be different. According to Wilson, the administration is not distinct from management. That is why he is saying make it more business-like. That is why he is emphasizing, no, that make the administration more business or more management orientation. So for them, there is no distinction between administration and management. But in reality, there is. Like, have you written this now? Okay. So let us see what is the distinction. So they were also the initiators of this conflict, public versus private. Okay. In the first class itself we have discussed, but we did not provide concrete differences. Okay. But there is a difference between management and administration. But none of them considered there is a difference. Wilson also wanted to make administration like management. L.D. White also wanted to make administration like management. In fact, they accepted that administration can be management. Okay. What is the difference? Okay. Right? As such, what is the difference? One is obviously the base. Their bases are different. Okay. Concern with efficiency. Concern with equity. Okay. So let us find out, okay, if I say that within the administration, if we have to deliver the justice, we also have to use the resource. Do we have to use the resource? How will you serve the poor? How will you do welfare? How will you focus on inclusion unless you have the resource? And if you don't manage the resource, you are a failed state. So economic activity is also an important part of the state, apart from the other type of activity. So I say within the administration, okay, there exists a management also. Okay, where or that part of the administration which is dealing with the resource, men, material, machine, technology, money, whatever, physical assets. Okay. So it has to manage those things also. Okay. So administration has one important function as the management, whereas administration has variety of other functions. Like, now it will be more clear that management can be considered as a subspecies or as a subsidiary of the administration. Okay. What are the other functions? Regulatory functions, right? Then revenue is a management function. Budgeting is a management function. Accounting is a management function. Okay. Management of employees, human resource management, a management function. Okay. But when it comes to the society, when it comes to the political responsibility, accountability, there are so many things which is more dominant in administration than in management. So the way we are using the word management, it denotes certain functions which are much less compared to the administration. So administration is expansive, it's a big area, whereas management is a restricted. Okay. So management term mostly used with the private sector. Okay, but you see there inclines, what is that inclination? That, okay, yes, management and administration, there does not exist much difference. Administration is management. So what they are doing? Variety of other roles which the administration could have played, or at least we should have studied. Okay, that was eliminated from or because of the influence of these theorists. There were so many other areas which should have been studied in the evolution or in the formative years of public administration that was not studied because of this biasness which is visible in all the three theorists or the founding fathers of public administration. So we can say that the initial development or evolution of POBAD suffered from a management bias. Management bias means were influenced by the private sector or assumed the administration and management having no difference. The primary purpose of the administration became the economy and efficiency, but that is not the primary purpose. The primary purpose is something else. Efficiency and economy are only the means to something known as public interest. Okay. And public interest cannot be equal to efficiency and economy, can it be? नहीं हो सकता ना भाई. It may require efficiency and economy, but it may not be equal to efficiency and economy. So if I simply, let's say, use a mathematical phrase, let me say that, okay, if I say public interest, now public interest is an aggregate of various things. Okay. Management plus administration. Only then you can serve the public interest, is it or not? Okay. In fact, the political aspect will come, but let us say they have defined what is public interest. So to serve the public interest, you require both. Okay, this can be further broken into efficiency, economy, effectiveness. Okay. Administration requires equity, justice, inclusion, protection, accountability, responsibility, so on, so on, so on. So if I say public interest is what? It is the aggregate of all these things. Whereas what they assume that what is the role of the administrator in the public interest? It is only this part. So we find a management bias in the initial years or in the evolutionary aspect or phase of the emergence of public administration as discipline. And that is the reason for the emergence of number of theorists from the industrial, or as a consequence of industrial revolution, number of theorists who contributed to the discipline of POBAD were coming from the private sector. In fact, you cannot say they were theorists of public administration, they were only theorists of administration. And administration was considered to be synonymous to management. So most of them were the theorists of management, not the theorists of public administration. Okay. That itself is another question, that most of the theories which emerged in the public administration as a consequence of the dichotomy or whatever, they cannot be called as the theories of POBAD. They can only be called as theories of administration. Right. So, private sector, okay, and obviously this is more of public. Okay. So we cannot rule out that there is no management in administration. It is. But then management is not synonymous to administration. Administration may include a part of its activity as management, whereas the other activities may be related to so many other things. Are you getting this point? Are you understanding this? Okay. So see how the scope of public administration was reduced in terms of study because of this management bias. Okay. So there were two views which emerged as a consequence of this. Okay, one was as a consequence of all these developments, managerial view of PubAd. Okay. Integral view of public administration, and to counter this, there again emerged a contextual or subject matter view. Like we studied number of views, perspectives before initially. Okay, they also emerged sorry, as a consequence of the influence that public administration must be studied because it was basically management based. Okay, so it should be studied with respect to this, or with this. Okay, इतना यहाँ तक आया, यहाँ तक ठीक है. तो अब यहाँ पे डिफरेंस क्या है? When it was accepted as a management or having a management biasness, then these three views emerged. Are you getting this point? But when we accepted that okay, no, PubAd is or administration, study of administration is synonymous to management, then these three views dominated now. Okay. Out of these two, they were purely related to this. Okay. This view brought it more closer to the administration. So the subject matter view or the contextual view, okay, it brought it closer to the administration, whereas these two views were basically an outcome of the management orientation. Okay. अभी लिख लेंगे सब, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. Okay. So ये क्या है मैनेजरियल व्यू? लेट अस सी. Let us assume that this is the organization, just a symbolic figure. So organization, why we have made this way? Generally we make the organizations this way only. Okay. Likewise, it may be having more of a pyramid. Okay. So why we are making it this way? Because this is a typical structure of the organization. There is a boss, there are various subordinates, and there are various levels. When we study organizational theory, then we will study that. But right now you can just understand in general that okay, this is the base where most of the employees, class 4, class 3 workers are located. Their number is obviously more. That is why the base is broader. Okay. As we move up, the supervisor's number reduces. Ultimately, when we go to the highest level, there is one single head. Okay. So we have, let's say, a typical structure of the organization as this. Okay. Now in the organization, if I have to study the administration from the management perspective, that is what I am studying the organization now. Okay. So whom should I study? Everybody. Let us say there is a head of department and I want to know how this organization functions, how decisions are taken, who commands, who has the authority, who is the main person around which the entire organization revolves. If I have to study, I have to know that how exactly this organization is functioning and how it can be improved. Then I should study only this head of the department. If I say he is the only one who is making the decisions, whatever he is doing, they will have to follow. So the managerial view is saying that if we have to understand the organization, okay, or improve it, or we have to develop a theory regarding that, or a content of the study of organization, okay, must be restricted to the study of only the higher levels in the organization. The higher levels, let us say this one, where the top bosses are there, who are the ones who are making the decisions and they are influencing the entire organization. So we must study only them. Okay, there is no need to study this part of the organization. Why? Because they are dependent on them. Is it correct? If we study the heads, we will know. Why? We know about the Prime Minister, we know about the Council of Ministers. Why do we need to study the secretaries? Or peon? But this may include variety of levels. Why should we study the functions which are performed at the clerical level, at the accountant level, at the peon level, or at the daily wages level, or at the middle level? Why should we study that?
Come out with the major problems of the structure that faced by staff.
Okay. We are studying this in this approach. Okay. So whatever functions they are performing, how decisions are made, who makes the decision, what is the process of decision making, how authority has been distributed, we study this, only this here. Why are we doing it? Because there is an assumption that whatever they do will be reflected here. But in reality this does not happen. Okay. So the boss gives the order but may not be necessarily implemented. The Prime Minister says, okay, do this, the ministers may not do it. So if I have to know the real understanding, if I have to develop a real understanding of the entire organization, how the management or how the organization is managed, or how they manage anything, so I will have to know the entire process from here to here. So this means what? That under the managerial view, I am only getting to understand a part of the organization, not the entire organization. Under the integral view, then we study this entire, right from the lowest level to the highest level. Okay. Now what does this indicate? That the study of the lowest levels in the organization is as important as the study of the highest level. Okay. And why? Why it is important? You see what kind of functions they are performing here? What is the type of function they perform here? If I divide the organization into 3 levels, middle level and let us say lower level. So they are basically performing what kind of decisions they will take? They will obviously make the decisions for the entire organization, policy type. You are correct. So they will take strategic or policy type decisions. Main decision makers will be these people. At the middle level it will be more of supervision. Whatever they have decided, whether it is happening or not, they will do. More of monitoring functions. Here, who will actually implement it? Okay, who are going to physically implement it? So these are the people, okay, the lower level, they are operative level people, they are doing it. Okay, they are monitoring or supervising them, they are the ones who are deciding it. Okay. So if I just study, now see, the organization consists of variety of functions. So if I study only the managerial view, then various functions of the organization I will never be able to understand. Okay, and how they influence the entire organization. So here, what is the assumption? That the power flows only from the top. Okay, and there is a linear decision making in the organization from top to bottom. That is the assumption of the managerial view. There are certain set of functions. So how the strategic or policy level decisions are made and what are the aspects of this decision making, we will study that and we will leave it. Okay. So see, in reality we will never come to understand what is the actual implementation, even if we are studying public administration or administration. So the implementation part would not be understood by us. Why? Because we are not actually studying the real implementation. Okay, let us assume, take an example, okay, sub-inspector and constable. Most of the, let's say police as an organization, most of the problems which people have from the police as a system is obviously because of the direct interface of these people. Okay. So the biggest problem people face is when they want to register a complaint or an FIR, or for that matter when they go and directly interact with the police as an organization. So whom do they interact? Them. They are not interacting the DGP or the SSP. Okay, they are interacting them. So what does it mean? To understand the real nature of administration, I have to study them and not the SSP. Okay. Even though if I study SSP, I may not be able to know exactly how they are going to function. So rules, regulation, procedures, everything is developed, and he is saying that okay, follow it, but not necessarily they have a discretion. They will be supposed, they will be bound to follow only when he comes to know. If he does not come to know, they are not bound to follow. Are you getting? So which gives a better view of the organization? This one or this one? This one. Why? Because it includes the behavioral aspect also. Not just the rules, regulations, procedure and functions and how the decisions are made, but also the behavioral aspect. Behavioral aspect means the real nature of the organization. Because here we study its interaction right from the bottom to the top. So if there is a corruption in the organization, which is a better view to use? Or to study the corruption in organization, which view we will use? Integral. If you are viewing it with managerial approach, what will happen? We will only say that okay, corruption starts from the top. The top levels are corrupt. They are the ones who are actually driving the corruption. But it may not be true. What about the petty corruption happening every day? Top. So we will neglect that part of the corruption or the study of that part from the corruption, okay, which is actually driving the corruption. Where? Within the public. So they may be responsible for the corruption here, no doubt. Okay, but they are not the ones who are actually indulging in corruption. Here the nature of corruption may be totally different. Here the nature of corruption may be totally different. So what will happen if we study corruption from this view or only this view, we will not be able to understand the real nature of the corruption. Only a partial understanding of corruption. Anything. Functions, okay, decision-making process, exercise of authority, communication, how people interact with each other, okay, what is the language of the organization. There are so many things which we can study. Now see, the kind of communication which is done here, so officially they will communicate with the bosses in the formal manner, but how do they communicate with the people? The kind of language used by them and the kind of language used by them will be totally different. Who will develop the perception of the people towards the police? Them. So this level contributes to the emergence of the culture. What is the public perception towards the organization is basically an outcome of the lower levels interaction with the people. It is not, so you cannot say that the organization's culture is very good because I just saw the CEO and he's like, I saw the DGP, well behaved, educated, IPS. ठीक है, real nature पता चलेगा जब वो चीफ मिनिस्टर के सामने जाएगा. ठीक है, so then you will understand that okay, what is the level of psychophancy, what is the level of buttering which is existent in this organization. So you will never be able to know his real nature. Now how he behaves with him, when you understand this, then you will know the real nature of the organization. Are you getting? So just by seeing him, you develop a perception towards the organization. Just by seeing him, some other perception. When you see both of them together, then some other perception. So ultimately, you require to have integral view. Okay. Now subject matter view, okay, it is taking away the focus of study from within the organization to outside the organization. Okay. Let us say, if I say that every organization functions in a particular manner, what are the functions of the top level? Let us study them, develop a science of that, and let us universalize it. Okay, that at this level, these are the important functions, and in every organization, everybody will do this. That is what we studied, and we said it is a science. When we use this, we understood that no, it is not possible. We don't have to study only the functions, or we don't have to develop only the health department. Okay. Will its culture be different from the police? Yes. But the structure may be same. Structure, when I am saying, there will be a head, there will be a middle level, there will be a lower level. Only the constable is replaced by the compounder. Okay. Is it or not? Nature will change. Nature will change. Why? Because the amount of influence the police may have on you, the same amount of influence the compounder may not have. The influence that constable may have, compounder may not have. The relative degree of scope of authority changing. Okay. Also the kind of function they are performing, okay, public interaction is very high. Okay. Police and all, public interaction should be very high, but it is not high. Okay. So here, a sense of authority or fear is not present. Okay. Are you getting this point? So logically, if you see that health departments, even if the organization looks to be similar, or if we develop certain principles of administration, and I say that okay, police can also be developed like this, health can also be developed like this, PWD can also be developed like this, then it will not be correct. That means what? The nature of the function which is performed by the organization is also an important aspect, okay, which defines the organization. Are you getting this point or not? The nature, that means what? The nature is what? The subject matter. The type of functions, the moment they change, the structure of the organization must change. The functions of the organization must change. So we cannot say, okay, based on this knowledge we can say, okay, administration is a science because these are the general principles and can be used anywhere. But the moment I see that, okay, no, there are certain functions, okay, which are distinct from each other. Defense is a different function, health is a different function, education is a different function, social justice is a different function. So the nature of the organization that very moment changes. So you cannot develop the universal principles of administration unless you study this also. Okay. That is known as the contextual or the subject matter view of public administration, or don't say public, of administration. So these were three dominant approaches which emerged as a consequence of the management bias, okay, which is now more acceptable. This one. Now using a subject matter approach, can you say that private and public administration are different? Yes. You cannot say? Can you say? Yes. Why? Health under the government and health under the private sector, still it will be different. A commercial organization, okay, and a public organization, they will be different. Okay. So the nature of function which they are performing, that is totally different from each other. Okay. Not necessarily the function itself. Okay. That means what? Banking also serves your economic needs. Insurance also serves some economic needs. Both have a different process. Private sector also delivers goods and services. Public sector also delivers goods and services. So the functionally what they are, both are providing, service providers. Okay, but how they are providing and how they are providing, that is totally different from each other. Okay. So these three views emerged, they dominated as a consequence of this. Okay. So initially, whatever theorists who developed the theories of administration, they assumed that it is similar to the management. Okay. And these two views were dominant initially. Taylor, Fayol, Weber, many people who made the theories, they made the theories with respect to this view. Later theorists who were more, you can say, who developed more sophisticated methodology, then they started viewing the administration from this perspective. They said, no, the nature of function is equally important in understanding that what will be the principles of administration. You cannot govern or you cannot understand the police as an organization similarly to the health as an organization. Okay. So, here the assumption is what? That organizations are like homogeneous entities wherever they are. Or management is a kind of function which is performed everywhere irrespective of the nature of the organization. So in the initial years of the evolution of PubAd, there was no distinction made between the public and private. All the theories which emerged, they accepted that the public administration or private administration is an administration, it doesn't matter. Whatever knowledge we have developed, equally applicable to private sector as well as the public sector both. इतना समझ में आ गया? Okay. So, right, now you write. It's better. क्योंकि यादाश्त के भरोसे मैं चल सकता हूं, तुम नहीं. Because you have to write also the content. Even if you can explain something but you cannot, you don't have the content, okay, obviously scoring is not possible. Okay, likhiye. There is, let's continue where you are writing. There is an inherent management bias. There is an inherent management bias in the writings of Wilson, Goodnow or White. Wilson, Goodnow or White. When L.D. White emphasizes that, the study of administration must start from the base of management. Rather than the foundation of law, he emphasized upon the technical nature of administration. The technical nature of administration, where the scope of study, includes the factors like efficiency, productivity, rationality, resource management, and other internal aspects of the organization. The scope of administration, next line, the scope of administration does not include the political and legal philosophy, the idealisms which guide them, idealisms which guide them, and also the nature of the organizations which are involved. In defining these values, nature of organization involved in defining these values. Okay. Management bias, लिखो here. Management bias indicates a value neutrality dominated in the study of public administration. What is the meaning of value neutrality? That you are simply like a machine. There are no subjective considerations. Okay, there are no social, cultural and other kinds of biasness which may be reflected in you because you do not have that scope. Neither you can do it, okay, nor the study will include it. So the study will not include it. Why? Because it assumes that you cannot do it. That is the logic of the study. So they developed value neutral public administration. Okay. Now it is value neutral, it is a machine. So they said, okay, its interoperability in one field and the other field is very easy. So whatever knowledge we will develop, okay, irrespective of the scope of the field in which it is being used, it can be utilized. Okay. Okay. The management bias resulted in the development of the field of PubAd being considered synonymous to the field of management. That is administration is administration, whether public or private. That is, administration is administration, whether public or private. In fact, next paragraph. In fact, three dominant views emerged, oblique perspectives, you can write. Three dominant views, oblique perspectives emerged as a consequence of the above. That is the management bias. As a consequence of the above, number one, the managerial view. The study of administration, as a discipline, or an activity must be confined to the study of the top level in the organization. It may include the following. ABC or points you can write. Include the following. Number one, the nature of functions performed at the top, the nature of functions performed at the top, second. So first is the nature of functions performed at the top, second, the process of decision making, the process of decision making, that is the policy decisions or decisions of strategic nature. Okay. In fact, you call this as the actual management. Okay, their function is what? Management. Okay. They supervise, they operate or execute, but their nature of function is basically management function. Okay. Third, so what is the nature of function they perform? Then how the decision process? Third, the distribution of, third point, the distribution of functions, authority, responsibilities at the top. So these are three various aspects which we study when we use the managerial view, okay, obviously influenced by the management bias. So we are considering that, okay, it is the top level which has, or which is the actual function or the decision making level at the organization. Rest of the levels, they do not have any role. Okay. So this is like a view of the organization of the administration from the top. Okay. 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 It is a view from the top. It is a view from the top. Assuming that it is a view from the top, assuming that the middle and lower levels assuming that the middle and lower levels are subject to the control and regulation of the top. So administration being synonymous only to the managerial function, managerial means the top level functions, okay, is not correct. Okay, but this led to what? This led to the emergence of certain principles. Okay, the very famous principle known as the post-core. So if I say managerial view or if I say post-core view, they are almost synonymous. Okay, what is post-core now? The first part which we wrote, the first part or the first number one, the functions of the top level. So it became synonymous to that. Okay, when we study the managerial view of the administration and we say that, okay, administration is actually the functions which are performed by the top level. So what are these functions? That is also important. Okay, so various theorists, in fact there were two persons who coined this term. Gulick basically. Okay. So they use the term post-core, an acronym. Okay. Which was a kind of short form for various functions which they highlighted. Okay, so they said the manager or the top level has these functions. Now in any organization, be it public or private, the top level will perform these functions. What are these functions? Planning, obvious. Planning, organizing, staffing. You have read it. And coordinating. I am relying on you. Sure. Reporting and budgeting. Because don't consider that this is your class. Your class is very big. 70 students are watching it online. Okay. So 20 are studying and 70 are watching. So almost 100 people. So whatever you say is a record. So if we are talking about planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating, reporting, budgeting. Okay, what does this mean now? What they said, that these are the major functions of the organization, more or less. The organization has to plan, it has to organize everything, direct or staff people, recruit people, that is fine. But then, these are the functions of the organization, but who is performing all these functions? The top level. Okay. And here only the organization ends. So starts at the top level, ends at the top level. Okay, but that is not correct. Okay, what is planning? In general, we will not discuss in detail. Obviously, when we go to organizations, then we discuss. What is planning in general? Something which you... Okay, planning has also been, a term has been used by another theorist. Planning as prevoyance. Prevoir or so planning as prevoir or prevoyance called by Fayol. Planning is to, obviously, there must be some vision, there must be a futuristic goal. Okay. So he's saying planning is what? Planning is the aggregate of all the activities which involves in designing that how we are going to achieve a particular goal. So it is like a design, okay, it is like an assessment, okay, and how we link various resources to each other. Organizing. Okay. You have to develop a structure. Even if you plan, okay, you have best of the plan on paper, so how we are going to execute this plan? So you need to develop a structure for that. Physical as well as the analytical, academic structure also. Okay. So organizing also is a kind of development of the structure. How you are going to now physically arrange this, whatever you have decided. Okay. Recruitment, obviously, human resource is an essential part of the organization. Directing is, it includes various things like you control them, you regulate them, supervise them. Okay, in fact, you see this word itself indicates that these theorists, they did not have any trust in the ability of the subordinates. That is the basis of the development of various other theories. Motivation theories, leadership theory, that is the basis. So see, the word directing, which has been used here, means what? It reflects that they did not have a trust on the subordinates, or they did not feel that subordinates were capable of taking the decisions themselves. Okay. So directing is like channelizing them towards the goal. Okay. Coordinating, we have already discussed. It is like synchronization of efforts. It is more than just the cooperation. Reporting. So timely you want the feedback. Okay, you want to see the benchmarks have been met or not. So what do? You actually go and find out. Okay. So reporting is like something like an intelligence gathering. Okay, from various quarters, various departments, you gather the reports and see whatever you decided, the benchmarks have been achieved or not. Why it has not been achieved, and so many things. So reporting also may include the control. Okay. Budgeting, most essential aspect but kept at the last. Okay. So without which nothing is driven. Kautilya is saying by everything, all administration is finance. Okay. So in the Arthashastra, he highlights this aspect that Every administration, all the administration is finance. Nothing can be possible without finance. Okay. So budgeting is also the same thing like resource allocation, revenue generation, whatever, cost estimation, accounting and so many things. So they use this acronym POSTCOB to highlight that these are the managerial functions or these are the functions of the top level of the administration and it can be applicable anywhere. Now see what happened. The content of the public administration revolved around this only now. The entire study of the administration revolved around the POSTCOB now. How to plan well, so various theories to support it, how to organize in a best manner, okay, how to develop the recruitment procedures, okay, how to direct and control people, various theories on that. So you see the POSTCOB basically became the center, the content, the focus of the study of public administration. Or in fact you can say the outcome, POSTCOB itself was the focus of the study of PubEd, revolving around these things only. Managerial approach. So what is the epitome of the managerial approach? The POSTCOB. Okay. The outcome, the most ideal outcome of the managerial approach is the POSTCOB. Okay. Unquestionable principles of management or administration. So they said, okay, these are the unquestionable. This is the most rational knowledge regarding the administration which we can develop. So it is a universal knowledge. POSTCOB is synonymous to the science of administration. Now I am understanding. So I can say the POSTCOB is or is equivalent to the science of administration. And administration is equivalent to the managerial approach or managerial view. Are you getting? So they were like what? They were restricting the scope of PubEd, but at the same time they were making it more and more technical in nature. Less of values, no values, equity not studied, justice not studied, equality, there is no meaning of that. Okay. And also they were studying organization or administration purely from the organizational perspective. What we have to study? The internal aspects. Okay. What politics is saying, what citizens are doing, nothing. Okay. So this phase what? It actually cut off the administration from the society and the politics. Okay. So in the search for designing the best machine, what they did? They themselves became dehumanized. You understand the term dehumanized? In their search for the efficiency, in their search for the ideal machine, they themselves became the dehumanized or robots. But dehumanized does not mean actually robot, but it is a symbolic expression. So in the search for this efficiency and rationality, they become dehumanized. No role of human values in administration. How is it possible? An administration which is insensitive, an administration which is isolated from any of the influences of the society or the politics or the culture, impossible. What Wilson conceived of administration, totally against that spirit. When the Wilson is saying cultural lens, what does it mean? He means that culture has an important influence, but they misinterpreted Wilson and only accommodated his only one term, that is the science of administration. Okay, they should have accommodated the entire vision of the Wilson. Okay, but confine themselves only certain things, the science of administration, make it more business-like, inspired by only those 2-3 terms. Okay. So logically what? The managerial approach dominated the study of PubEd. And even today, it is still dominant. Okay. Whenever you want to reform an organization, most of the reforms are carried on highest level. None of the reforms are basically focusing on the lower level changes. So this approach has implications for various things, just like we discussed corruption. Okay, administrative reforms. Okay. Improving the culture of the organization, now the changes will be done at the highest level. Increase the pay, perks, privileges, security of the IAS officers. Organization change, I will say. Huh? What about the clerk? What about the class 3 employee? What about the class 2 employee? What are the states, about the state civil servants? What about the lower levels of the hierarchy? क्या होगा उनका? पे कमीशन, जितने भी recommendations होते हैं, now see there was a conflict regarding the lowest level or the lowest salary in the organization, in the government. Okay. So if you are increasing the highest salary to some 2.5 lakh or 2.25, then why not lower salary from 7,000 to 20,000? The highest salary you increased from 1 lakh to 2.5 lakh. Okay, almost double and more than double. But the lowest salary you are not ready to improve or increase to 20,000. So 14,000 to start, now minimum salary is 18,000. Okay. But there was huge conflict over that why minimum salary is so less. Okay. So many reforms which we have done, okay, even if we don't want it, okay, or somewhere without being deliberately doing it, still we have we effect all the changes at the highest level only, not at the middle, either highest or the higher middle, okay, but not at the lower middle or the lower level. Okay. Whatever reforms they take place, they are just a percolation of the top level reforms. So ये approach अभी भी dominant है. Okay. Today also we are developing PPP models, privatization. So what is happening? The public administration or the public system is being changed or modified towards the private administration. So what are we doing? The same thing. The values of the private sector cannot be eliminated. So if you are developing a PPP model, public-private partnership model. So in the public-private partnership, who will decide how much will be the public and how much will be the private? Okay. Equity you can decide, nothing else. The values of the private sector are always attractive to the public servants. Agree? So that kind of liberty, that kind of autonomy, that kind of casualness, informalisms, they have not enjoyed in the government. Excessive subordination, excessive control. So what will happen? The private sector will influence its values on the public sector, and more likely the private sector will be able to influence the public. Agree? But Satan is more attractive than the God, always. Instant benefit. ठीक है, भगवान के लिए बहुत नंगे पांव वहां जाओ कितना मेहनत है. ठीक है, who will do all that effort? So logically, the corruption will also attract than honesty. More tedious in nature. Okay. So the private sector values are influenced by liberalisms. Okay, comfort, consumerism, materialism, benefit. Okay, instant gratification. Performance appraisal हुआ, salary बढ़ गया. Okay. Government, every procedure is complicated. So even if we are going for PPP models and things like that, what is happening? We are shifting our approach towards the managerial view. Private sector and public sector, not much difference today when we talk about under the globalization. So the managerial view has implications even today under the impact of technology and the globalization. It is not that it is an outdated view. Okay, still we view the organizations and the administration from this perspective. District collector. Okay, what is that? That is a managerial perspective. Who is a district collector? Head of the district. Okay. So what is district collector doing? He is only doing these things. There is no specialized function which he is performing. Okay, whether the district collector is doing policing? No. Whether he is working in the health department? No. Whether he is doing PWD construction? No. So he is not a technically qualified person. Who is he? He is just like a common or a general administrator. And what is he doing? He is doing POSCO functions. Planning, organizing, staffing, nothing else. Okay, there is no technical or specialized function of the district collector. Most of the posts which are occupied by the IAS officers in the Indian civil services, it is basically of the managerial nature. Okay. Even though you can say that there are various functions which they will perform, obviously different from the private sector. But the nature of the administration at that level is purely from the managerial perspective. He is the one who makes the decision. All the decisions are centralized in him. Okay. Hardly any participation from the other departments. Okay. He is the disbursing officer. He is the controlling officer. He is the regulating officer. He is the punishing officer. Everything is the collector. Then the commissioner. Then the secretary. You see, the entire administration is finished at these three levels. The administrative part finishes. Collector, commissioner, secretary. Nobody else now. Okay. So DGP controlled by Home Secretary. Chief Conservator, Principal Chief Conservator of Forest controlled by the Forest Secretary. Okay, who are these people? These are basically performing the general functions. Are you understanding this? Okay, right. The managerial view influenced the emergence of POST-CORB. POST-CORB, an acronym used by Gulick and Erwick. POST-CORB, an acronym used by Gulick and Erwick. Gulick and Erwick for universalizing the functions of the manager or the top level. The manager or the top level in the administration, or the top level in the administration. Okay. POST-CORB includes, you can just write it, even though you may know it. Writing is always safer. POST-CORB includes planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating, reporting, budgeting. In fact, if you have written planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordinating, reporting, budgeting. In fact, POST-CORB became the center of the entire administrative study. Considered as the epitome of the science of administration. The science of the administration. POST-CORB were, next slide, POST-CORB were the universal principles to be applicable, anywhere, irrespective of the context. Okay. In fact, this phase when the POST-CORB or number of theorists who were obsessed with these managerial functions, this phase is also referred to as era of orthodoxy. Era of orthodoxy. Okay. Why orthodoxy? Sticking to rules and principles. But what was the orthodox? PostCorp is equivalent to the science of administration. Okay. So orthodoxy refers to the traditional view of science of administration highlighted by Wilson. भाई पबैट का ऑर्थोडॉक्सी क्या होगा? साइंस ऑफ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. ठीक है, द कंजर्वेटिव आइडिया. So the orthodoxy reflected in one that there is a science of administration, and what is this science of administration is the PostCorp. That means we have developed the science of administration, which is synonymous to the PostCorp. So also known as the era of orthodoxy, that obsession with the principles, procedures, rules, universal models. Why? Because obsession with the science of administration. In fact, they claimed that this PostCorp, through this PostCorp, we have found out the science of administration. So public administration almost became synonymous to science and joined the club or the elite club of the natural sciences, according to them. Okay, they said that now none of the social sciences can compete with public administration because PubAd is a science. There is no question about it. Okay. Because their search was for the principles and they found the principles. Okay. How they found it, nobody knows, but their claim for the science of administration ended up at the search for PostCorp. Okay, likhiye. Okay, this phase also known as the era of orthodoxy. Phase also known as the era of orthodoxy. Era of orthodoxy, based on the following premises. Based on the following premises. Number one, public administration is a science similar to the natural sciences. Second, PostCorp are the universal principles having applicability anywhere. So they are the generic principles of management. Generic principles, generic means universal. Generic principles of management which substantiate the claim for a science of administration. Third, लिख दीजिए. Orthodoxy also refers to the traditional view of Wilson, Goodnow, etc. for a science of administration. Okay, so also known as orthodoxy. So the managerial view actually developed or led to this orthodoxy. Okay. But managerial view is not considered enough to understand the administration. Right. The managerial view restricts the scope of the study The managerial view restricts the scope of the study. Whereas the real nature of the administration can only be understood. Real nature of the administration can only be understood when various levels, including the managerial, supervisory, and the operative levels, all are studied. This led to the emergence of the integral view. Integral view. What is integral view? You can write. Okay. This view accepts administration as a sum total of all the activities including managerial, technical, supervisory, clerical, accounting, etc., etc. This view provided a broader understanding of the actual functioning of the organization, and the real nature of interaction between various levels, within the organization. This view can be used to understand the behavioral and cultural aspects of the organization, especially citizens' perception of the administration. So when we are studying this, now see, the power was considered to be concentrated here, authority concentrated here. So whatever changes to be brought within the organization will be brought from here and not from here. But there is a theorist who is using the integral view, or through the integral view he understands that there is a lot of action going on here also, and this action may not be exactly according to what they think. Okay. What does this mean? That a part of the authority which is available here, even though he has the power to control, but he may not be actually controlling it, or he may not be able to control that, deliberately or non-deliberately. So, a part of the authority, okay, which they have for doing certain things may be used for either benefiting or bypassing the interest of the citizens. So you can understand in better way that how a particular organization or a perception of the people towards an organization develops if you are able to understand or study this level in the organization, or at least this level in the organization. Okay. So there is a theorist who is using a term. Okay. That term is very important. He is classifying these people who are working at the lower levels in the organization, or who are working at the cutting edge level. Okay, this is also known as the cutting edge, where the direct interaction with the people. Okay, like cutting edge technologies are mass technologies. Okay, you must have heard the term cutting edge technologies. Fine. So they are directly interacting with this. Okay. So there is a theorist known as Lipsky. Who? Okay, naam interesting hai. Lipsky. Okay. So he is talking about a term, street level bureaucrats. Street level bureaucrats. The people working at the lower or the lower middle level in the organization. So the Lipsky uses the concept of street level bureaucrats. He is highlighting the term the street level bureaucracy. That means what? That there is a system which is working here also, and it has a big influence on the citizen administration relationship. So the concept of street level bureaucracy or the street level bureaucrat brings into the study of administration the perspective that neglect of the lower levels of the study from the administration or organization would result in what? Robbing of the field from its academic understanding of the real nature of administration. So he is saying that no, don't think that he is the only bureaucrat, he is the only one who is decision maker. They are equally powerful, they are equally capable, even though may not be having the same level in the hierarchy, status and power. Okay, but as far as the citizen administration relationship is concerned, their influence is phenomenal. Okay. So that only comes with the idea of the integral approach. Otherwise, how will a concept of street level bureaucracy come? You see the constables, see the people who are working, the clerks in the office, window clerks, wherever, RTO office, PW, wherever you go, Jal board, electricity department. Okay, they are the ones what? Continuously they are modifying the citizen administration relationship. Okay. So, if you eliminate them from the study of administration, what will happen? The real reason for the failure, success of various things you will never come to know. They make the policy or they support the Chief Minister, Prime Minister making the policy, but who will give them the feedback? They. Now, why they will give a particular feedback and why they will not give a particular feedback, that cannot be understood if you don't understand their real motives and intentions. So you have to include them in the study, right? Okay. Okay, right. Lipsky's conception of street level bureaucracy referring to the lower or the lower middle levels, lower and lower middle levels in the administration provides us with a vivid, because it is highly, yes, very broad, a vivid picture of the citizen administration relationship. The failure, next line, the failure or success of a particular policy or program may be an actual outcome of the role of the street level bureaucrats. Okay. For example, the mass campaigns, awareness programs. For example, the mass campaigns, awareness programs, extension services. Extension is like information dissemination. Extension services, etc. all are carried out at the lowest level. These activities have huge impact as far as the acceptance or the denial, have huge impact as far as the acceptance or denial of a particular government decision by the people. The Swachh Bharat, no doubt media is doing it. Okay. But if you don't see that happening on the road, okay. So if you see garbage near your house and from the Red Fort Modi is saying that okay, Swachhata has become like a norm, Swachhata has become like an ethical principle, okay, will you accept it? No. So whatever the top level does, it is actually substantiated by the lower levels of the organization. Okay. In fact, they are the empirical data. They are the facts of the administration. They may be the idealisms of the administration, but they are the facts of the administration. So, the reality administration ki, that is visible only through the street level bureaucrats. Have you understood this much? Okay. So, now would you like to be a street level bureaucrat or a top level bureaucrat? A top level bureaucrat but working at the street level. Okay, that is why we say activism. Okay, there is a term used, civil services activism. What is that activism? When the top level bureaucrat is functioning like a street level bureaucrat. Direct public interface, direct public participation. Okay, direct changes, consciousness, community, relationship, enforcing all that. So is what? He is functioning basically like these people. So you can have or you can occupy the structure or the structural post here, but you can behave this way. So the more public interaction, the more benefit or efficiency of the administration increases. Okay. Even though public interaction may not be valued by the administration much, but ultimately the consequence of or the increasing public interest is an outcome of the increasing public participation. Any government policy, its success depends upon what public perceive about it. None of the policy can be absolutely rational. Any policy you see, starting from the independence, none of the policies are rational, but it is the public perception, okay, which influences the success or failure of a policy. You develop a program or a policy, people are not embracing that. What will happen? National Population Policy 1980. The failure because it was coercive in nature. So factually also it was wrong. Okay, perceptually also it was wrong. Okay. Because in a democracy nobody will accept coercion. Is it or not? So fundamentally at the level of value also it was discarded by the people. Okay, and also at the level of operation or the implementation also it was discarded because the nature of implementation was wrong. Okay. In autocracy, like let's say China, people accepted that. In India, they did not accept. So in China also they did not use the coercive method, they incentivized. Okay, but there were punishments and people had to accept it. Okay. So that population policy implemented in China, successful. Population policy implemented in India, unsuccessful. Okay, so there is a very broad role which these people play. Okay, so it also indicates what? That the power or authority is not only restricted to this level, but it is also equally usable, at least available at this level also. Okay. Understanding that means what? Is power constant in the organization? Because he is not sharing the power. So how they are deriving the power? Because of their role, their function in the society. So it is actually the scope of the government function which is so big, and it provides them the ample scope of the exercise of minimum authority given to them. भाई राम रहीम 5-5 रुपए इकट्ठा करके 500 करोड़ बना लिया ना, that is what? Public or private organization, the operative level person serving let's say 100 customers, 200, 500, 600, 1000 maximum. Here, an operative level is serving lakhs and lakhs of people. So you see the magnitude. Because of the magnitude or the sheer nature or the size of the function, okay, whatever little authority is available to him, that becomes big. The influence becomes manifold. Have you understood this? You write a question.
Trade unions and the consumer workers groups will be considered as positive or negative?
No, positive. Why negative? Positive. Okay, not negative. It's good. Because they don't have any other mechanism. Just now I said, the limited power given to them. So they have their internal needs also, they have demands. How will they fulfill it? The system is designed in such a way that everything is centralized. Okay. So they develop their mass base through the trade unions and association. Nothing wrong. Okay, write the question. Okay. देखिए, whether it was Wilson or White, the management bias, whether it was Wilson or White, the management bias was visible in the evolutionary phase of the public administration as a discipline. Second question. Comment करना है, comment. All the questions comment. Second question. Differentiate between managerial and integral view. differentiate between managerial and integral view which of the following managerial and integral view which of the following extends the scope of the study of public administration. Extends the scope of the study of public administration. Third, लिखिए, Lipsky's conception of street level bureaucracy. Lipsky's conception, so that you can remember the name. Lipsky's conception of street level bureaucracy provides a better idea of government failure or success. Discuss. Okay, so you have to provide practical examples also. Why this will happen, why this will not happen. Your arguments, theoretical, okay, with the day-to-day examples which you see. Okay. So today we'll restrict the class today till 1:30 only. Okay. There is a seminar, so it will take time. Many students have already gathered. Okay. Tomorrow there is one answer writing session of POBAT, okay, which will be for you also and for people who are writing mains both. Okay. So it will be basically about the answer writing, how we write, how we approve. No, 11 o'clock. Okay. So that will be, it will include various things which we use or which will help you even now also. Okay. So it is the same thing, it is not something very specific to people writing mains. It is for anybody who intends to write a good answer. At least in public administration, that is the purpose. So tomorrow instead of 11:30, you come at 11. Okay. If that gets over early, then we'll have our session and complete it. So today is 27th, 26th, 27th. So from 28th, you can have a respite from me, and the feeling is mutual. No, 23rd. Sorry, 3rd से या 2nd से होगा. 2nd से नहीं होगा, 2nd ऑफ है. 3rd से होगा. ठीक है. Let us meet tomorrow. It's okay. Okay.